Hey everyone, Monica Jazik from RPI Education, and welcome to the Financial Freedom Summit. In this series, you'll hear from 21 experts sharing powerful, little known wealth building strategies that 98% of people are not using. These interviews are packed with real actionable steps to help you fast track your financial freedom. So let's jump in with today's guest, Rob McKerney. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm good, Monica. How are you doing? Thank you
I'm
so much for
doing
the invite.
amazing. Oh, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm going to read a quick bio on you
Sure.
so the audience learns exactly who you are and what you'll be sharing with us today. Rob is the founder of International Gold Vault. With 18 years of experience in the precious metals industry, Rob has built a career helping individuals and institutions protect and grow their wealth through physical gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Rob began his journey in Vancouver, working with a leading precious metals firm from 2007 to 2016. And in 2017, driven by a passion for financial security and independence, he founded International Gold Vault. Since then, he has grown the company's book of business to over $10 million, specializing in guiding clients who are looking to hedge against inflation and safeguard their assets amid the ongoing devaluation of currency. Known for his integrity and personalized approach, Rob has earned the trust of clients by simplifying the often complex process of acquiring and holding physical bullion. His mission is to provide stability in uncertain economic times by helping clients take direct ownership of tangible, lasting wealth. I love this bio.
That
Thank
about
you,
sums it
Rob.
up.
I'm like every part of it. I'm like, I love this. I love that. I love this. Well,
Thanks, Monica.
the economic times really have been uncertain. So I'm really excited to have you here because everyone knows they want to learn how to do these types of investments in precious metals, and
Sure.
people really just are unclear how it works. There's not as much information on how people can build wealth through this vehicle. So, are you able to kind of get in a little bit, talk about the exact sort of like what is the wealth building strategy that you use that has created financial freedom in your life as
Sure.
well? And why do most people not use this? Why do you think it is so underused?
I think that there has been a little bit of a stigma behind the precious metal space and market and owning physical bullion and the challenges behind acquiring it and dealing with the banks. So um, that's a bit of a hurdle for people. That's something that I pride myself in assisting, individuals and institutions in facilitating the move out of fiat currency and into physical bullion.
Yes, yes, no. And so how, like, what were you doing? I know you gave us a bit of your background, your bio, but what were you really doing to build wealth before you started using this
Mhm.
exact strategy, even before you, because I know you worked in the industry a little more before you started your own thing. But
Sure.
before any of that, like, what were you really kind of doing? How did you sort of get into the industry? And what was that pivotal moment in your life where you knew you had to make a change and you wanted to go into business for
So,
yourself?
yes, we learn as we grow up that these banks are our friend and we should, trust them to manage and help to grow our wealth. My father's a financial planner. My brother works in finance in Ontario, and there are traditional methods out there. Those methods often are more to benefit the advisors that are helping them, helping you invest your money. Um, the epiphany for me was the the devaluation of our currency. And I find this hits me more personally when I shop at the grocery store. Most people that buy the groceries for their families have noticed over the last 15, 20 years that there's a lot less in the bag than there was 15 years ago. And that mechanism on its own is within our control. And that's the one component that I like to share with as many people as possible is we can control the value of our savings and of our worth by converting out of fiat currency, opting out of the central banking system and saying, you know what, I'm gonna move my money into something physical,
Hmm.
right? This is a 1 ounce silver maple. I used to sell these things for, $10. This is worth $60. Okay. And that's a very simple process, is looking at what you have in your account and saying, okay, I can dedicate these funds to a physical asset. I can move some of these funds into a vaulted account and
Mhm.
save in precious metals versus trying to save in fiat currency. We had two rate cuts yesterday, one from the Federal Reserve and one from the Bank of Canada. Both of those steps are inflationary,
Mhm.
right? Lowering the cost of borrowing expands our money supply and reduces the purchasing power of our currency, right? Who does that hurt? The citizens, the individuals that earn those dollars, whether it's in the States or it's in Canada, it doesn't really matter. Okay. We can protect ourselves by moving that fiat currency into something tangible and physical.
I love that you said that, and I love in your bio when you're talking about the devaluation of currency. So if we go back to the history of money, and really kind of look that when things really changed for the value of a dollar, really, was when they removed, when I think it was Reagan, was
Yep.
it Reagan? Who
Nixon,
removed the
Nixon,
gold, yeah,
71. Hmm.
yeah, Nixon, sorry, who removed the gold backing up behind the dollar. So now our dollar really is worth nothing. There's
Not
nothing.
even the paper it's printed on.
It's crazy, and all of the different countries and governments telling us to save our money and stay out of debt. They're trillions of dollars
A
in debt.
hundred percent. Yeah, it's a little hypocritical actually if you think about it. We are all under this credit system that we have to make sure that we pay our bills on time. Otherwise, our personal credit score gets damaged, which also impacts our ability to borrow money, makes it more expensive. Yet, behind closed doors, they print their own money, create this massive amount of debt,
Mhm.
and it's on our shoulders to make sure that we can support it. It's hypocritical, to say the least.
One interesting thing, because I love to talk about gold. I'm going to continue this. I know you do other precious metals, but let's go back to gold.
Sure. Yeah, we can
Gold, gold,
certainly.
gold.
Hmm.
Because that's originally what was backing up. And I do love this. A lot of people, let's just talk about some elephants in the room before we get into the real fundamentals of it. Just to kind of show how people can move past this limiting beliefs behind this
Sure.
amazing concept. One thing is the fact that people think that this strategy is really, really one of those strategies that you do after you've kind of done everything else, just
Mhm.
because it is not cash flow positive. They're picturing just taking gold and shoving it away in a safe and accumulating it, and it's really not making any money for them in the interim.
Mhm.
I think that's one belief that a lot of people are thinking. Is there any truth behind that, or?
Well, that's what takes us into understanding what it is that precious metals dealers or brokers, however you would like to label, what I do. Um, I take it a step further than the retail transaction. Monica, you come to me and you say, I've got some money and I'd like to convert that into physical bullion, and I buy it. I take, tuck it away and put it in a safe and stick it in your closet and nobody gets to see it anymore.
Mhm.
That's one thing. Okay. I vault product. I work with depositories around the world, Mississauga, Delaware, Grand Cayman, Frankfurt, Singapore. We can vault product for individuals in any of those facilities.
Mhm.
That instantly creates liquidity. So anyone vaulting product at any of those facilities can simply send me a text from Sunday afternoon to Friday afternoon, even through the middle of the night, and access the market. They can buy or they can sell or they can request funds. Now, the precious metals market, due to the devaluation of currencies around the world, and that's a pretty consistent thing. See, once you understand that the devaluation of currency creates inflation and inflation is stealth taxation, then the eyes open up, right? Then we realize, okay, well, I need to start taking steps to protect what my wealth. Your program is about building wealth. Um, I'm about preserving wealth because that's the first step. Once we preserve some wealth, then we have the ability to look at other options. Okay. So I like to tell people that are interested in owning precious metals, you have a couple of options and you can always do both. Take delivery of some. It's nothing better than having this stuff in the palm of your hand, right? This is your go bag in the event of an emergency. If something happens, you have something you can bribe somebody with to get what you need. Okay, that's a
Mhm.
very important thing. I always tell people keep a little bit of cash on hand as well, right? We don't know what the future holds, but we want to be in a position where we can make a decision and move in the event of something catastrophic happening, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and the same thing goes with banking.
Hmm.
Okay, if we leave all of our money in the bank, then the bank controls our ability to move. Okay. We need to create a little bit more freedom than that. So we take some of that cash out of the bank and we move it into physical bullion in a private vault outside of the banking system. Once we're outside of the banking system, the freedom opens up,
Hmm. What,
right?
tell me about well, what are the options then? Once you're outside of there, then.
You can take delivery of that product at any time, right?
Hmm.
So if the banking system were to collapse in Canada, your bullion that's held in a private vault is unaffected. Your wealth in that facility is unaffected, right? The CDIC insures up to $100,000 in Canada, the
Mhm.
FDIC up to 250,000 in the United States. Precious metals accounts are fully insured, full
So
market value,
tell me
right?
how that works. Get into that a little more. How does this insurance sort of thing work?
Well, so there are a few insurance companies. They share responsibility of the insurance of the vault, the product that's in the vault, up to $1 billion. Okay, in
Mhm.
one transaction. So that product is safe and secure from theft or an act of God or something happening, right? So you know that it's fully insured. You know that in the event that something were to happen, your wealth is insured and that these vaults share that responsibility. And sharing that responsibility is exactly aligned with proper financial planning. We don't put all of our eggs into one basket. I would never tell someone, hey, take all of your wealth and put it into physical gold. They'd probably be very happy today if they'd done that 20 years ago. But at the end of the day, as much as I love precious metals, I understand that it's important to spread your risk among multiple asset classes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
and touching on your point about yield, that's always an ongoing contention is I put my money in there and I don't generate a yield. Precious metals have been very, very active. For the last 18 years I've been in the business, we've seen some very, very wild moves, 10, 20%, sometimes 50% swings in the market. Again,
Mhm.
another reason why it's important to vault product because we can capitalize on those movements. We can access the market and process trades. When we see that the market's run its course for that period and it's at a high and it looks like it's going to correct, and I work with analysts, expert analysts out there, and share that information with my clients so that my clients and I can make decisions on whether or not we should remain in the market or whether we
Mhm.
should harvest some of that profit that's been generated. That's
That's really
one,
great.
yeah, one very important step is to work with someone that has your best interest in mind. My fees are very low at International Gold Vault. That is another component that adds to the success of my clients. I'm not interested in getting, rich off of one transaction. I would rather have multiple transactions that benefit both of us and work directly with my clients.
Because I'm always listening every morning to the cost of the dollar, the cost of gold, and watching it fluctuate. And that is amazing because it's true. Like, and everyone's thinking, oh, I just put it in my closet and I have these gold or it's so expensive or whatever. I'm just gonna not making me any return. But if you work with an expert like yourself, there is a way that this can be almost traded when you advise, hey, has anyone considered, this could be a good time to cash out now, hold things, and then once again when it goes down low you could reinvest and buy more. And that's the same with real estate. I mean, when COVID hit and the prices were sky high in all the homes, everyone's like, what do we do? I'm like, sell or refinance,
Harvest
you
some
know
profits. Yes,
you're
that's
never
right.
going to see the profits like this again because there's always these times. And that's why I'm so excited about working with our experts because everyone's an expert in their own realm. And when you see these astronomical highs, like these anomalies that really are not going to probably come back for some time, and you can tap in your community and go, hey guys, listen, totally choice is up to you,
Yeah.
but me, I'm doing this. And if
taking
you
some
want
profit.
to, I could
Mhm.
help you and you can kind of follow my journey. I think that's what people really need on their financial freedom
Yes,
journey.
absolutely.
So I don't think that it's as illiquid or just reserved for the ultra wealthy after you've done every other path. I think that there is a point with precious metals that not only can everyone should be including in their wealth plan, but also for younger people and for
Yes,
parents
absolutely.
of younger people. For me
Hmm.
personally, I always thought silver is a really good entry point, and even for habit forming purposes at all, because the cost of gold can be quite pricey for ounce. I
It's
think that,
daunting. Yeah, it's getting up there.
and then silver is very cheap in comparison, but it's always sort of traded. It's a very good habit to get into. One of our experts here was saying one of their financial freedom advice is to pay yourself first, right?
Sure.
And
100%.
younger people, I would have my kids taking their allowance or their part first and continuously investing in silver. Kim Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki's wife, has a very, very impactful story I wanted to share where that's where she started investing in silver, buying silver, and on this continuous basis to the point she didn't feel it, but didn't realize how much she accumulated.
Hmm.
And when she got into real estate, a property came along and she's like, I want to participate in this. And it was about like a $10,000, $20,000 buy-in. She
Hmm.
accumulated that much in silver without even
Sure.
realizing it.
Yeah.
So there are easy ways of entry. And really, I think a lot of it is like what you're saying, diversifying.
Yeah.
And but also that is like also a very, very easy point of entry as well, that people can just get in that habit forming.
I
Uh,
work with a teacher in Ontario, as a friend of the family, but he's a teacher, and he's got two small children. And he said, Rob, I'd like to, um, put away some money for our kids' education. When the time comes in the next 15 years that we need to start looking at schools and what we can afford, I'm going to take a percentage of each paycheck every 2 weeks, e-transfer it to you. Please buy as much silver as you can with it. And I've been working with him since 2018, and I'll tell you, the fact that he has done what he's done has come in very handy because they've had some family emergencies where they've needed to pull funds, and the market's liquid. It is gold and silver, precious metals are the most liquid assets on the planet. It takes nothing to find a buyer. It's instant. You get a fill right away, and the funds can come back to you within 24 hours, which is which is incredible, right? In this day and age, everything should be that liquid, and I think that's the allure when it comes to crypto. We have this ability to move, almost an unlimited amount of money globally without delay, and
mhm,
that is a flaw in the system for us. Our wiring and wiring systems a little bit slow and kind of clunky and due for reform. So yeah, the liquidity is definitely there. The ability to invest in small increments is there, and just amass a small fortune without really knowing that you're doing it. You're right, Monica. You nailed it on the head. It's crazy how quickly it can appreciate.
I love it. I love it. So how would you say this strategy really goes against conventional financial planning advice?
Yeah, sure. So, again, going back to what we're doing, it's not taught to us as children to buy precious metals, to own precious metals. We can own chains or we can own rings and jewelry, and we see value in those kinds of things. But when it comes to getting ahead, the things that you see on X, or LinkedIn or all the social media platforms out there, is invest in this idea, invest in this, piece of paper, and there's a strong probability possibility of this get rich quick
Hmm.
structure. Um, if it's too good, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And so I guess I just revert back, and this is what makes it different, is I revert back to just keeping it very simple,
Hmm.
right? I always tell people, oh, I'm not the smartest guy. I like to keep things really simple. At the end of the day, taking fiat currency that my government is devaluing daily and moving it into an asset class that is preserving that wealth and more often than not appreciating just seems like a no-brainer. It's a
Hmm.
very simple way to start amassing wealth. And then when you realize the impact that it's having on your net worth, it becomes more attractive. And that's not to say there aren't other opportunities out there that maybe could grow wealth faster, or maybe more appealing. This is just a very slow and steady way of preserving wealth and growing it at the same time.
What would you, and I'm sorry, I'm going to ask more specific questions. I know I'm kind of gearing out of this financial freedom, but what you're saying is just, so absolutely fascinating. What, when you invest in the precious metals and when you do choose to liquidate, what does this mean from a taxation standpoint? Is it tax friendly or not very tax friendly?
So that's a great question.
Mhm.
I will say consult your accountant before. Don't take tax advice from me. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. And this sort of taps into another component to the precious metal space. Okay. This might come as a little bit alarming to some people, but the precious metals market and precious metals space in general is completely unregulated.
Mhm.
Okay, there's no licensing required. There's really no oversight other than FinTrack and your AML. But at the end of the day, anybody can get out there and open up a precious metals business, right? The basis of my precious metals business comes from trust.
Mhm.
Okay. Like anything else, a good company, a good corporation is founded and based on trust, right? My clients trust me. I trust working with my clients. Um, you need to make sure that you're working with somebody that has a reputation, a good reputation. Okay. And because there are risks to not working with somebody that doesn't have that reputation. They could lead you astray. They could tell you, oh, there's no tax in precious metals. That's not the case.
Mhm.
Okay. Everyone needs to, be responsible for their own gains. Okay. Um, and report those gains, pay those gains. Listen, if you're paying capital gains, then you're winning. Think about it like that, right?
Mhm.
You're not paying capital gains because you're losing. It's because you've made some good trades. Now, that being said, when you convert fiat currency into something like this money, for all intents and purposes, is something completely different. Now you're outside of the banking system.
Mhm.
Believe it
No,
or
and
not.
that's another question I wanted to ask you too, because I know I'm going a little off track here. But another thing that is largely replacing, the traditional conventional dollar, to say, is crypto and
Mhm.
blockchain and this
Mhm.
whole thing. So we're entering a whole new world. When you think of gold and precious metals, we're thinking of something extremely old-fashioned, because that was even before money. And now crypto is like whole new world. How do the two work together? And do you see them as friends, foe, competition, collaboration? How does that work? And do
It's
you
a
think
great
the two
question.
could
Yeah.
emerge to overcome the traditional?
Listen, it's a great question. Okay. I'm by no means an expert in crypto. Okay.
Mm,
I'm an expert in precious metals for sure. Um, it is the simplest, precious metals is the simplest form of money, right? I can use these products, precious metals products, to buy and sell because it's a medium of exchange. Anyone that's willing to give me something in exchange for this has become a mechanism for trade. Okay. Crypto, be careful how I go with this. Crypto's interesting. It's exciting. I think that there's a place for it in the monetary system because of its speed and its ability to move money. But I think precious metals has had a stigma for, I'd say, 50 years of being a clunky means of transporting and moving wealth and exchanging wealth. Okay, transactionally.
mhm,
Now, move fast forward to today, we have the ability to e-transfer funds. We can send wires. You could use your precious metals account to fund your crypto account. Like there's a lot of ways
mhm.
that diverse ways that you can use precious metals as a medium for exchange. that teacher that I was telling you about in Toronto, right? I need some money. I probably got him those funds just as quickly as a crypto account
Hmm.
could, right? Let's be honest, right? You push the button, you redeem your funds, it comes back to your bank account. I've dabbled in the crypto market. I know how long it takes once you process sell and request your funds, how long it takes to land in your account. I probably beat them. I probably got the funds to him quicker than he would have if he had a crypto account. That's not to
Hmm.
say I can't transact as fast as them or they can, transact quicker than I can. But again, I'm the safest form of money, essentially. That's what precious metals are. They represent the safest, um, simplest form of owning or storing your physical wealth.
That's great to know how fast you can transact if you want. And I like how it sounds like you could even, take your funds and put it into crypto. I'm wondering if it would even be vice versa, and people are just leaving out conventional banking altogether. The dollar's no more. And now
Yeah.
crypto, the newest, is best friends with the oldest.
Yeah.
And people are kind of working together. That'd be really a really
I
interesting way to see how money is going to be exchanged.
I could see a harmonious relationship. Now, they're really we need banks, right? And I need to work with banks because that's how we move the money.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, it's there is a place for the two to work together, undoubtedly, right? Very much like my need for having a bank account, right? That ability to conduct transactions. Excuse me. Um, but again, they kind of represent different things, right? Bitcoin is what Bitcoin is. Precious metals, precious metals opt out of the global monetary system. That's what
Hmm.
it is. You can say that crypto does the same thing, but I'm sure there's questions around that, right? Precious metals physically, I can put my now you can put I understand you can put a little fob in your pocket and that's got your wallet on it and you can move it around. I get all of those things. But you can't hand someone your fob and then they just trust that your money's there.
Hmm.
I can give them a 1 ounce silver maple and they know that the value is $60 and they'll give me something of equivalent value, or maybe in some cases more. I'm giving
Yeah.
this away, by the way.
Oh,
So
well,
none of
that's
your people are gonna
good.
you're gonna get that.
That's great. How do you suggest, before we get into these financial freedom questions and more about you as in your mindset as an entrepreneur, as a financially free investor, how would you recommend people start out? I mean, obviously they're going to contact you and you're all about diversification. What would you say is a good sort of rule of thumb for people to follow or so they can start incorporating precious metals into their wealth plan?
Yeah, so I think it's important to have a conversation. That's the first step. We need to sit down and hash out what your goals are. What are you trying to do? Again, I'm kind of an untraditional precious metals dealer. In most cases, they just take orders, process the transaction, and ship the product. Um, I look at what I do. I take a little more responsibility than that, I guess you could say. I like to find out what your goals are, and then that's something that we can work around when we sit down and have a conversation. And maybe somebody in my network, like yourself, is someone that they need to work with, and that's a referral that we make. Hey, look, you got to talk to Monica. This is her zone. This is what she's an expert at. She can help take this part of your plan to the next level. So
Hmm.
first steps to conversation. We have to talk about how we're going to do what we're going to do, and what we're working with.
You know what? That's a really good answer because, and I was asking the question thinking, oh yeah, that'd be like someone coming to me saying, what do you need in real estate or, what kind of strategy or whatever. And you really do need to start with a plan.
Got
So
to have a
I
plan.
totally agree because you could sit here and go, oh, well, everyone should be taking 20% of their net worth and investing it in gold. And the gold should just be sitting there. Meanwhile, they don't have money for groceries and they're not making
You're
ends
right.
meet. So that is not a good plan. Maybe that person should be into more of a 5% down and doing more cash flow things with maybe a small percent of the reserves that are then saved. So I agree. I actually
Mhm.
almost apologize for even asking such a cookie cutter question when I totally agree as a wealth planner, everyone's situation is so different. So
Everyone's unique, 100%. So we need to sit down and
100%.
have a conversation first, and then we find out what's best suits your needs.
Amazing, amazing. Now, if some person here wants to come work with you or to learn more,
Hmm.
and I know this is not the last question, what your gift is and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But question for this is there a minimum that they need to be willing to start investing before working with you? And if so, what are some sort of things that they could be doing until they get to that point where they're able to come to you? Because I want people to come to you when they're ready. Is there
Yeah,
have to have a
sure.
certain amount?
So here's the thing. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've had the good fortune of sitting and having lunch with Jim Rickards. And I would recommend to anyone watching this, even before you have a conversation with me, skim through his books, read his
Mhm.
books. Um, he's done some pretty fantastic things. Um, you know, I think it's important for people to um, have their goal in mind on what they want to invest, how they want to invest, and what they're capable of doing before they reach out to me. Because then we can start that conversation. Because they can't buy precious metals without money.
Hmm.
I don't have a minimum. In the past, I thought of implementing a minimum.
Hmm.
But again, my focus is about helping as many people as I can. I want people to understand the importance of what I do and that they have the ability to protect themselves from this inflation monster, from this devaluation. Um, so if you have $5,000, $10,000, you got $500, or you've got something you can do weekly, and you genuinely want to start growing an account or
Hmm.
building an account, taking delivery, I'll work with you. I'll work with you. And we can always make decisions. We can change the plan along the way. If you find that it becomes a little bit too taxing to make regular payments and you
Hmm.
just want to do lump sums over a period of time, or you're done, you want to allocate your funds elsewhere, it's no problem. I don't have an issue with that. There is no set time, there's no set amount. And I have a lot of information in my mind that I'm happy to share with as many people that are willing to listen. It's how we
That
all
is so amazing. Thank you. And I want to talk to the audience for a minute about that. Is like Rob's put a great offer here, and you should definitely, research this a little more because even if you're just starting out and you're a younger investor, or if cash flow's tight, this could be a really great habit setting, habit to get into is really, oh, I'm going to spend like maybe, buy an ounce of silver a week.
Mhm.
And this is like what, a $36 sort of investment, like a week that's
About,
just kind of on this.
about $60. Yeah, 50, $60 is what you're going to put in, every week if you buy, if you're buying an
Mhm.
ounce of silver here and there. That's not my fault. That's the market. It's appreciating.
That's
And
gone up
so
a lot. That has gone up 100% because last time I was looking at it, it was like $30. So,
that's right.
but if you're just buying it and setting it and forgetting it and having it kind of grow, it's a really great thing. And then next thing you know, it really does something for your self-esteem when you put your investing first, yourself first. This is beyond your friends, beyond your family, beyond your spouse, beyond your interests and hobbies. Let's take your financial future, and give yourself just a little bit of an nest egg that's a little more, although it's old fashioned, it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit, and outside of just saving your money, because it is accessible if you need it, but it's not as accessible as you're just going to consistently be spending it and it's going to be devaluing. So I love that, to just
Mhm.
how achievable this is, because so many people think of gold reserved for wealthy. Me personally, I would love to set aside an automatic account for something as small as silver to when it hits the threshold to convert it to gold and
Mhm.
then start over and go that way.
100%.
Like that is a plan that you just kind of have like another secret financial weapon in your back pocket working for you as our economy continues to progress, and hopefully we weather through these difficult times and come to better times. But there's always going to be stuff happening. So I think the more strategies that we have going on, the better. And I think they all
Irons in the fire.
complement each
I-
other.
Irons in the fire. Look at people even like Elon Musk. He doesn't just do Tesla. He doesn't just do one thing. He has multiple irons and multiple fires, and this is important. It really doesn't matter how much or how little you have. It's about spreading yourself out, and getting things working for you and taking steps in the right direction. This program is so important because understanding and educating yourself on how the world works is the first big step in making changes, positive
Mhm.
changes.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. They say that like for business ownership, when we're normally helping people grow their business, we say you have to have 7 streams of residual income working for you.
Sure.
We could take
Yep.
that same thing and look at investments and say you need seven investments or 7 streams of income working for you. If people have their job income, that's one thing.
Mm.
If they have their real estate income, but they can also start including things like the precious metals. They could have some stock. They could have some crypto and sort of diversify even from that point, have business income. A lot of people are saying now diversification is great, but it's for people who do not know what they're doing, that they should be specializing in all things. But now with people who are like been specializing in real estate for 15 years with zero crypto, zero stocks, we started working together with the precious metals before. That was always on
Hmm.
my radar before the crypto and the stocks because I like the protection
Yep.
that it really provides and the more easy to understand because I don't understand the others. I look at the market that we're in now and think I have been diversifying, not because I don't believe in real estate and I love real estate and that's my main point of business, but I realize now as the market goes up and down in different states, you have to have your money in some of these different baskets. And it's not about diversification as handing it over and not understanding it. Anyone who's watching this Financial Freedom Summit, you guys have taken the time to start learning how money works, and we're teaching you different
Hmm.
strategies. So the more they know, the more empowered you are over your hard-earned money. And I think that's really, really the point here.
You nailed it. Yeah, that knowledge is power. It's a real thing, and you're providing a great platform for people to learn. And this is something that I think everybody should tune into. And you have great experts, and you've done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, if you were to start over from scratch today, no
Sure.
followers, say you had no capital, no connections. What secret move would you use to get ahead fast?
This is a bit of a silly question for me to try to answer because I'm in the precious metal space. But the one thing I would do is sit back and think about what people need. What do they need, and how can I fill that need in whatever it is? So, if you're sitting at home and saying, well, geez, I want to do something, I want to get rich. There's got to be a way for me to do it. It's not magic. It's about fulfilling a need for someone else and others seeing that what you're doing is something that they want. And that's obviously working off of a trust system. You can't work with people without trust. And that I think that impacts every component of everybody's life. If you've got a housekeeper, if you've got somebody that works for you or mows your lawn, you want to know that you trust that person and that
Mhm.
they do a great job. You're going to give them, compensate them for the work that they do. Um, so you've got to sort of start from a place that fulfills a need and represent that, whatever that idea or whatever that business is, from a very trusting standpoint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what's the biggest lie or misconception about wealth building that keeps 98% of people stuck?
I think we're all on the wheel. I think the majority of people just sit on the wheel. They go to work, they do their 9 to 5. They put their money in their mutual funds or in their TFSA in Canada here, obviously, 401k down in the States. Um, and they just hope that one day, something's going to come along that's going to make them wealthy. They don't deviate from what they've been told or what they've been taught. They don't have the open mind to explore other ideas. Um, I think there's an open-mindedness needed to get to a wealthy position. You need to be willing to take risks, be willing to hear no, a desire that doesn't end. So, some people are just happy with the paychecks that end up in their bank accounts, and they've got their blinders on and they're just unwilling to look outside of that. Look outside of that. You've got nothing to lose, right? If you get told no and you don't like it, just go back to what you were doing. So, I think that is the biggest inhibitor for of growth and ideas and wealth. Holding people back is their unwillingness to just take the chance to execute their idea.
Love that. That's great. And what do you see the top 1 to 2% wealthiest people and families doing consistently that the rest of the world ignores or avoids?
Yeah, they're thinking outside of the box. Again, they're not looking at what today's problems are. They're looking at what the future problems are going to be. And they're trying to head it off at the pass. They just want to get ahead of everything that's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, our real estate market, Monica, you probably know this very well. We're struggling a little bit here. Those people were gone years ago. They were gone years ago. They got their money out and now they're waiting and they're looking at where the next opportunity is going to pop up and they'll redeploy, as they see fit going forward. So those people are just ahead of the game. They're just thinking ahead. Again, what are today's problems and give me the future solutions. They're looking at investing in future solutions and not what's happening today.
I love that. Yeah, we always want to stay ahead of the game, I think. And I think like education is power, learning about what each strategy and how it works. You don't have to do all strategies at once, but you don't also have to be just 100% one strategy. And all of it, everything takes, research, and
Mhm.
it's a good use of time to even learn about something if you decide you do not like it at all.
Mhm,
Because then
100%.
at least you could justify why you don't like it and why you're not using that strategy.
That's right.
So this was such a great interview. I thank you so much for
Thanks,
that.
Monica.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? I understand you have a free
Oh,
gift
yeah,
that
I
you're
have a
going to
free
be
gift. So
including.
this is a 1 ounce silver maple. It's Canadian. It's a Canadian pure silver coin. This is 4 nines pure, so it's pure silver. Again, I was buying and selling these at $10, $8 an ounce at one point in time. And you can look online. I don't have a retail space on my a web page. It's just way too much for me to try to upload and maintain. But if you look at other precious metals platforms out there and what they're pricing these things at, I always get a bit of a better deal because I move a lot of product, and I don't spend a lot of money on marketing, so I don't need to make a lot of money to do well. So I'm giving this away. I don't know how we're going to do it, Monica, but it's available for us to give away. Whoever gets it, I will ship it to them. They'll get a little business card in the envelope. It'll come out to them fully insured. And thank you again for inviting me.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. And thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Audience, Rob's information to the gift and to track him is in the same body of the email that you are watching this video, that you got this video link from. So make sure to click on that and learn more about this amazing wealth strategy. Thank you so much, Rob. And thank you, audience, for tuning in. Stay tuned for tomorrow. There'll be another great interview from one of our specialists talking about another amazing wealth building strategy that will help you fast track your financial freedom. So thanks so much and
Thanks,
see you later,
Monica.
everyone.